Tony Amonte, John Tomase. What do we make of this, Tony? Obviously, fabulous game, but for the Bruins, suddenly we're looking at a Game 7.
Heartbreaker, but you thought the game was over. I thought it was over anyway. In the third period, the Boston Bruins are able to get a shorthanded goal on the kill. Jake DeBrusk is able to put them up 5-4. I think this thing's over. I don't think the Florida Panthers are going to be able to recover and come back from that, but they do right away. Matthew Tkachuk, the top player for the Florida Panthers, always answers the bell. He seems to be there. This team just won't go away for the Boston Bruins. Boston Bruins need to get home, get things under control, and start to play a little bit better defensively. Obviously, you let up 7 goals, 6 and an empty netter. You got to start to think about defense just a little bit more. They're scoring plenty of goals. They got Pastrnak involved now. Great for them tonight to have him involved. And Marchand with a big game with 4 assists. The Boston Bruins stars showed up, but they got to do it defensively.
Yeah, and we'll get to Linus Ullmark in a second, but just talk about what the Bruins are doing in their own end. I mean, it's so uncharacteristic for this team. It has been the story of the series. It's been the story of probably half of Florida's goals, giveaways, sloppy plays, unable to clear the zone. What do you chalk this up to?
I possibly pressure.
Yeah.
You're in the playoffs. It's do or die every shift you're on the ice, and I think the Boston Bruins might be feeling it just a little bit. Yes, there were a ton of turnovers again tonight. You saw the first goal. Clifton tried to go side to side with that puck. Florida picks it off. It comes right back in the zone. You didn't see that during the regular season with this Boston Bruins team. They were so good. They control the puck. They always possessed it throughout the regular season. Something has creeped into their game, and you really can't put your finger on it. They've had stretches where they've been great, and they've had other stretches where things just haven't been good for them.
Now, the obvious question, anytime you give up 7 goals, you just get beat in overtime before that. What do you do about the goalie? Is Linus Ullmark, do you start him Game 7, or are you tempted to go Swayman? Because from what we've seen, I wouldn't say all of those goals were, it's a howitzer, there was nothing he could do. It sort of felt like he'd certainly like to have some of these back.
Absolutely. I would think the game winner by Luostarinen for Florida, just coming down the slot. Obviously, he's in a good spot to shoot the puck. He did make a few saves. You saw that one coming off the goal line. I didn't love the Matthew Tkachuk goal to put Florida up. He got 2 shots on it. He didn't really get over to that second shot from Tkachuk, but I think it boils down to more than just the goaltending. I think it's team defense. You have to have the 5 players on the ice, the guys that play, help the goaltender out. They've always done that. The Boston Bruins have been a team that has always been able to rely on defense first. In this series, their D has kind of disappeared. And when I say D, I mean team defense.
Sure. If you're in that locker room going into Game 7, how are you riding the ship? What do you think those players are talking about right now?
Well, I think the first thing is you say, all right, we're going home. It's on our ice. We got the last change. It's up to us to go out there and play our game. And that's all you have to do. Just go play. Relax. Play your game. Don't turn the puck over. Just be conscious. Every time you have the puck, you have to make a positive play. We saw that one by Linus Ullmark coming out of the zone. He shoots the puck into the stands. It was just, that's unforgivable for a Boston Bruins defenseman. He had a guy wide open, 10, 20 feet up the ice, just couldn't make that play.
One positive. David Pastrnak showed up. He gets stoned on a breakaway, kind of 2 breakaways, but certainly gives the Bruins goals, gives just a ridiculous goal between the legs. Very few guys in the league are going to score on that. What do you see from him? What does his emergence tonight potentially mean for games?
Well, you have to have this guy. If you're going to win a Stanley Cup or even win this round, you have to have David Pastrnak going for you if you're the Boston Bruins. He was able to get it going tonight. I thought early in the first period he was quiet. I didn't see him much. He was still playing with David Krejci in the middle at that point. He had a shift with about 3 minutes left in the first period where he toasted Mark Stahl on D, had an opportunity on a partial breakaway, and then got another shot right away. And that seemed to really jumpstart his game. He comes out in the second period and pulls one between the legs and goes right up over Bobrovsky's shoulder. Just an incredible goal. It's a skill goal. It's all skill. Obviously, he's worked on that before. But to have David Pastrnak going, scoring goals, contributing for the Boston Bruins, it's vital.
What kind of pressure is on them now? You're talking about the historic regular season. You're talking about, supposedly the greatest regular season in the history of hockey, certainly by the numbers. Now you're on the verge of being eliminated in Game 7. How do you not let that pressure get to you if you're the Bees?
Well, I just think this team, they got veterans, obviously Patrice Bergeron, you got Marchand, guys who have been here before. They're able to deal with that pressure, deal with it, use it to their advantage when they go out and play in these games. It's so funny you start to compare this to years past when the Boston Bruins played the Toronto Maple Leafs. Maple Leafs are kind of almost in the same situation right now. The Boston Bruins, I just think that they still have the advantage. They're a team that's deeper. They just got to go out, find their game early on in Game 7, get out there, establish what they need to do, and I think they'll be fine. Do
you go Swayman? Would you make the call, make the switch?
I don't think so. Just because he hasn't tasted the playoffs yet this year. I think they'll stick with their guy. Olmark's been their guy all year. I think they go right back to him.
God, I see. That's a tough one for me. You just gave up 7. I know one's an empty net. You just lost in overtime. I feel like he's given the puck away as much as his defenseman. I mean, there have been a lot of misplays there as well. I know you don't want to panic, but man, you look at this Game 7. It's all or nothing right now.
Well, that might feel like a panic move, maybe to your players.
Yeah.
As a coach, I'm going to panic. I'm going to do something crazy and put Swayman in. I think Olmark's been their guy all year. He's proven he's an all-star goaltender for the Boston Bruins. They need him to be at its best.
We've talked about the defensive players, the defensemen. No goals out of their back line. How much does that need to change?
It's killing them right now. Lindholm not scoring, Orlov not chipping in offensively, McAvoy, no one's been able to get a goal. Obviously, Carlo did get one this evening, but it was called back on a hand pass by Jake DeBrusk. But they need their D to be involved offensively, not always scoring the goal, but helping out, getting up the ice, helping the Boston Bruins create more offensive chances. The bad part about this is Sergei Bobrovsky's in this game. He's in this series now. They didn't go with him early. He's gone the last few games. He's got things rolling. When he's going, he's one heck of a goaltender.
Yeah, and we've seen what he's done to the previous record-holding team, the Lightning, so we know that that's in there.
Bruins playoff coverage is presented by Mass Mutual. Protect those who matter most on or off the ice.